next, we have another amazing organization. We were so thrilled to have these three organizations join us. Snowflake. So from Snowflake, we have Eva Murray and Blaine Carper, who I'm going to bring up on the screen right now.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us from across the pond here. So I am going to go off screen and let you start.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Blaine Carper. I am a senior strategy and analytics analyst supporting our EMEA marketing team. But that may be my title. I actually really consider myself more of a data diplomat who spends the majority of their time trying to get stakeholder buy-in on all of the beautiful data that we are producing and trying to drive action from.
And I'm Eva Murray. I'm lead evangelist at Snowflake, responsible for the EMEA region. And what I do a lot in my day is to look at the little light of my webcam and speak to it as well. Now, when Blaine and I prepared for this talk, we thought there's a lot of unknown unknowns, and it's twofold. So firstly, we have the position that many of you might be in, where you think, how do I even get into this whole data industry? How can I start a career? Because many of these jobs are very hidden, right? No one ever talks about it. You don't see them on the street. You don't know what's out there. And today was a great way to actually experience and hear about some of the experiences people are having. And then there's also the unknowns in what's actually happening in the job. Once you get your foot in the door, what will you be asked to do? And I'm going to have Blaine actually elaborate a little bit on that. So the unknowns about your job.
Thanks, Eva. The unknowns were something that I personally was really completely in the dark on when I joined Snowflake almost 6 years ago. I have no technical background whatsoever. I have a master's in gender studies. I thought I was going to be in academia forever. And I joined Snowflake with a very, very open mind, that growth mindset that we've been talking about. And over the course of my time at Snowflake, just learning and learning and learning new different skills, trying to get a full picture of the business, to the point where I thought, you know what, I want to go more technical. So when I joined Marketing Intelligence, my current team, I taught myself SQL, taught myself Tableau, and thought, this is going to be a totally technical role, numbers all the time. And it turns out that my academia skills actually come in handy a lot more often than I would have thought. I spend the majority of my time, like I said earlier, getting stakeholder buy-in on all of the data that we're producing, helping them interpret it to drive action. So that big unknown for strategy and analytics really was around driving the business forward through connecting with stakeholders, not just running all of the queries and building the dashboards and putting the data out there.
For me, some of that unknown stuff came when I graduated from university and I joined Deloitte to be a consultant. And my background is also not technical. I did a degree in HR, psychology, accounting, and commercial law. And my goal was to actually go into the HR side of consulting. So, change management, all those kind of things. And that's what I applied for. And on day one, I find out I'm actually in the enterprise information management team. So technology projects, transformations, introducing new solutions. And I freaked out for a moment. And then I thought, I'm sure they know what they're doing. So maybe I'll just roll with it. And I'm so glad it happened that way. But I couldn't have predicted it. I couldn't even have tried to go in there because it wasn't even on my radar. And then actually getting into data more and more over time was just really fortunate, because if you had asked me after school or maybe during my university years, do you want to work in data? I mean, I had statistics at university and I was pretty good at it, but it required the most effort because it just didn't come easy to me. And I would have never asked for a career in data or pursued that until I was nudged and shoved into the direction. And I wanted to talk briefly about what it's like to work at a tech vendor, because I've seen the data industry from different perspectives. When I first had a proper data role using Tableau first up, I worked for a customer, Commonwealth Bank in Australia. So this was literally 10 years ago. And I first, got exposure to Tableau. I was analyzing data, I was creating visualizations and dashboards. And I realized this is so much fun and I can actually do something big here. I want to do this all day, every day. It's literally what I said. And I was fortunate that I met a hiring manager at a conference where I then got to join a Tableau partner. So I went from being a customer to becoming a partner, and I was then a consultant for Tableau. So I was doing client projects, but I also became a trainer for Tableau Desktop and Server. So I got to experience teaching others the software, but also using it on consulting projects. And from there, I joined a tech vendor, a technology partner in Germany before joining Snowflake 2 years ago. And what I really love about working at a technology partner or at a technology company is there's so much innovation. There's a great product. Everything focuses on the product and how we can make it great for the customer. But also there are still all those traditional, typical business units in our company. It's not just developers that work at Snowflake. There are HR people, there are finance people, marketing people. We're both in marketing. And so there are a number of different roles, and they all touch data in some way or another. But you don't have to be a developer. You don't have to write code. And you can still have a great career in this industry, but also at a tech company doing things where you are adjacent to the data teams or adjacent to the developer teams, and you can bring in your knowledge and your passion. But for me, Blaine mentioned she really wanted to do this really technical role. That was her expectation. I enjoy the technical, but I'm better at other stuff. And I really love that in this role, I get to experience that and I get to really live that out. So that's been really nice for me. And I hope that some of you would consider working for a technology company, because I think it offers a lot. And yes, we have internal roles like Blaine's, and there are also so many other ones as well, where you can use your data skills and develop more data skills, whether it's going into the direction of data engineering, data science, and others, where you can really unleash your talent and your experiences. And with that, Blaine, what are we looking for? What kind of roles are we hiring for?
We are hiring globally. So I'm actually hiring an intern, so someone who's still in school, can be undergrad or postgrad, but someone who is looking to get their feet wet in the strategy and analytics space. So that looking at the business problems, divining from the data where we are and where we might be 2 years from now, and helping us, discover what kind of solutions we can make so that we move the business forward. But we're also hiring, in my team in particular, data scientists in the US. We have another internship open in APJ for strategy and analytics. And then, like Eva was saying, we aren't isolating our data teams to just, your typical domain of engineering. We have analysts in product, we have them in finance, we have them in HR. So there's really a lot of different opportunities across the company for you to get into a data role. And even if you come in for a more, traditional business role, like myself, I started in business development and then did just about every job possible in sales operations. But along the way, I taught myself all of the different technical skills because I was surrounded by people who were supportive of me at Snowflake and helping me along the way and learning those skill sets. And it helps that, we do work for a company where data is our business, and I got to learn SQL on Snowflake, but that's just one of the really, really excellent opportunities that we have. So I believe that Dustin's going to share our careers page, but I really strongly urge you to have a look at what we have to offer. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and Eva. Happy to talk more.
Yes, definitely. We will share that in the post-event recap, and I'll drop it into the comments as well. Thank you both so much. Just one question. If I were to summarize several questions I've seen throughout the event that I think you guys would have a great perspective on is, if you're looking at a role and you're just getting started and it requires some things that, you don't have experience in, you're trying to break in though to the field, like what would be your advice to break in? Like, should you just apply to every position, or should you network, or what's your take on breaking into the field?
So my role said desirable would be a master's degree, which I don't have, still worked out. I think if there is something on the requirements list that you feel you really don't have yet, but you have all these other things, be unafraid to show all these other things. And, previously you had in the previous talks mentioned, cool projects that you've done that were outside of work. Maybe they were a part of your university degree or something else. Showing what you do more than the professional side of you is something that I learned in consulting, actually, is really valuable. I worked with a woman who was a Cirque du Soleil artist, and she got into consulting. One of my closest friends, he was the water polo captain for New Zealand. This is all the plus ones that you can do. Now, you don't have to be like an amazing athlete, but what are the things that you do that make you interesting, that you can introduce into your job, and actually that will add value? And that goes typically beyond the technical hard skills and into the softer side of things.
And to that point, Eva, one of the huge things that I look for as a hiring manager is communication. Like I said, I didn't know any SQL whatsoever up until 2 years ago, but I knew how to speak to the business. I knew how to communicate. And when I'm speaking to candidates, that's what I'm looking for. You can learn hard skills. That's easy enough. I mean, easy is relative, but what's most important to me is not only what makes you interesting, but also how can you communicate with the business. So don't be afraid to apply if you don't tick all the boxes. And if there's a company out there that's really, really interesting to you, find somebody who's in a role that you're keen on, reach out to them, start a conversation, and it never hurts to connect with people.
Awesome. I love that advice. And I just wanted to close it by sharing this comment from Latoya. Cool. I was a fashion stylist in my previous career. Yeah. So thank you both very much. I love that answer and agree with it wholeheartedly. Thank you both. Appreciate it. Please connect with Eva and Blaine. I did share their LinkedIn profiles, and we'll also share the Snowflake career site. So thank you again both for joining us.
Thanks for having us.